Hey all, Noah here from the Overclocker magazine. So, as you can tell, it's one of the few times I get to review a full gaming PC. Not for any particular reason outside from the lack of such readily available machines. Many stores offering pre-built PCs do so more as a service as opposed to a particular line or series of gaming computers. Well, here I have the PCBuilder Ryzen 5 7600 Maverick, which from here on in I'll just call the Maverick. The Maverick is what I would consider a mid to high-end gaming PC, especially at the healthy retail price of 37,000 Rand. So what does this 37,000 get you? Well, let's talk about what you don't get at first, which is of course a keyboard, a mouse, mouse mat, or headphones. These will have to be bought separately. So if you're a first-time buyer of a gaming PC, you'll have to factor these into the price. What you do get, however, is a gaming PC that is well put together in terms of neatness, subsequent airflow, and of course visuals. This isn't anything you've not seen before, however, that shouldn't imply the machine doesn't look good. On the contrary, actually, I think the simple and clean visuals make fantastic looks for people who just don't want those loud PC. And again, the fantastic cable management in the front looks absolutely gorgeous because the system is just so neat. Anyway, the whole point of a pre-built gaming PC for me is to make PC gaming as seamless as possible. This is to say, when one receives the PC, short of OS-related aspects, it should be game ready. This is fortunately how I received the Maverick PC. So after updates to games, benchmarks, and the operating system, I was ready to go. There was no need to do anything in the BIOS, XMP was enabled, and from what I could tell, all things configured optimally. Having said that, it doesn't mean there isn't room for improvement. The reason I say this is while it's great that the system is left at default barring XMP, there's a bit more I think the Maverick could do to make this an even better impression. Consider that many, if not all PCBuilder machines use ASUS components. For instance, the Maverick is built around the ASUS B840 Prime motherboard and the ASUS Prime GeForce RTX 5070. This motherboard has tuned DRAM profiles that the ASUS engineers have created to enhance the system performance. These profiles are not used at all, which is a pity as most users would not venture into the BIOS to enable them. And if they did, they may find it all too intimidating. As such, BIOS profiles or instructions somewhere on how to enable this would be an additional value that takes advantage of the system being powered by ASUS. That aside, cooling is by way of the PCBuilder 360mm AIO. The PC features 32GB of Patriot Viper DDR5 6000 memory and a crucial Gen 4 1TB SSD. Needless to say, the CPU used is literally in the name, the Ryzen 5 7600. Now, with all of that said, let's take a look at some performance figures of this PC. First up, we have the 3D Mark tests. Performance here is typical for a mid to high-end machine in 2025. The more relevant tests here are the full Ray Trace Speedway benchmark and the ray tracing free but heavy still Nomad test. Above 5,000 points in either of these tests is what I would consider good. In Cyberpunk 2077, the Maverick does exceptionally well here, allowing you to use the Ultra Ray Tracing preset with path tracing and ray reconstruction enabled. If you're not one for frame generation, the machine is still able to deliver over 60 FPS, averaging 74 frames per second at 1080p. 2x frame generation is what I would consider reasonable, however, with the minimum number of artifacts to make it usable. As a result, 1440p ends up delivering a very playable frame rate of 84 frames per second. However, the 1% lows can be much lower than expected, but I will say that I didn't actually notice this while playing normally. We then have Alan Wake 2, again playing at the highest graphics fidelity possible and employing DLSS quality yields a very comfortable 71 frames per second. For those using 1440p, which is likely the target resolution for many 5070 users or similar machines, frame generation here is a must. That being said, it works exceptionally well, and as you can see, we end up with a 93 FPS average and a relatively high 1% low of 67 frames per second. While there are some that don't like frame generation for a number of reasons, I personally preferred the 1440p setting with frame generation over the 1080p experience. And finally, we have Marvel's Spider-Man 2, where you can immediately see that frame generation does wonders for this game. Without it, 1080p is playable for sure, but when enabled and the resolution increased to 1440p, the average frame rate does actually double from the late 60s to about 115 frames per second. I have to stress again that visually there were no anomalies that I found which could compromise the image quality. Another title where the PCBuilder Maverick delivers great performance at the highest graphics settings possible. Naturally, as this machine ages, you'll drop the gaming resolution to 1080p or use performance mode in DLSS and whatnot. However, as it stands, your investment in as far as gaming is concerned should last you a number of years while you play games at the highest graphics fidelity possible. One thing I want to mention about the PCBuilder Maverick is that it's exceptionally quiet. Even when going through all the games and benchmarks, it's quite remarkable actually. This is appreciated, especially for those who prioritize silence over outright performance, or for those who happen to rest or sleep in the same vicinity as their PC. So the question is, does this PC justify the price? Well, I'd say yes. The thing is, I mean, you could always build a similar machine yourself, right? However, this isn't the point here. Moreover, this one carries a warranty and a 3-month Xbox Game Pass subscription. So on day one, you can effectively play some of the latest and greatest games on your very capable PC. Ultimately, this is what I would consider a fair machine at this price. If you're anything like me, you'd not buy a pre-built gaming machine, of course. I'll just build one myself. However, I would recommend this for anyone who is on a budget around this figure. And depending on how adventurous you are or how competent you are following quick OC guides online and so forth, you can extract even more performance from this PCBuilder Maverick as I did. So before I get out of here, however, a note on the case. It's by no means a premium chassis, but it is more than serviceable. And I like that the I/O panel is at the bottom of the front panel. So it's easy to connect peripherals when it's on your desk. This also means that this case is not for anyone who uses their PC on the floor. Anyway, I've been Neo, and this is the PCBuilder Ryzen 5 7600 Maverick gaming PC. It's an off-the-shelf gaming PC in SA, and it's one of the most competent and capable ones I've seen. So until the next time, take great care of yourselves, guys, and I'll see you on the flip side.